20 feet of your intestine to arrive in your colon, which is the large intestine. And then these microbes, as teams, they get to work and they have these enzymes that they will use to change the fiber. And it stops being fiber. It's not fiber anymore. And now you are releasing what are called the short chain fatty acids, one of which is called butyrate. Well, to answer your question, what butyrate does, which is produced by the gut microbes when they come into contact with fiber, what butyrate does is, number one, it nourishes the cells that line your intestines. So 70% of the energy for those cells, it comes from butyrate, right? Those cells are powered by short chain fatty acids.
Mm,
But the second part is that if we were going, let's pretend that I've given you the bricks, Nick, right? And we want to build a house. Well, you're not just going to put the bricks around each other. That's a mess. We can knock that over so quick,
right.
right? You need cement. You got
Mm,
to bind those bricks together. You got to hold it. And so there are these proteins called tight junctions, which are the body's version of cement. So the concept of the bricks, those are the cells. And the cement is the tight junction protein that holds these cells together. And when those tight junctions are strong, we have a strong gut barrier, which means that we are basically like fighting against leaky gut and reducing it. And those tight junctions are powered by butyrate. So
mm.
basically what we find is that this short chain fatty acid called butyrate, and there's other short chain fatty acids, and we could get into the nerdy details. I've already 5 minutes in, people have already established I'm a nerdy dude. So, but the point though is that this one short chain fatty acid, butyrate, it has this special power where it basically powers those cells, makes those cells healthy, actually protects us from colorectal cancer, and simultaneously is going to fuse up these cells through tight junctions that basically fortifies the barrier.
Wow, that's awesome. So, you said the tight junctions are proteins? Like, are they specific, like usually amino acids that are responsible for these tight junctions?
Yeah, so these tight junctions are proteins, and basically, if you imagine them, it's almost like having a spot weld that's on the two sides of the brick held together. So they basically fasten together. And it turns out that this is not the only place that you find these tight junctions. So you find them in many different parts throughout the entire body. An example would be the blood-brain barrier.
Mm,
So it turns out that our blood-brain barrier is conceptually very, very similar to our gut barrier.
wow.
And in fact, butyrate also helps the tight junctions that fasten the blood-brain barrier. So I'm sure there's people that are listening that have experienced brain fog. And you go to your doctor and the doctor is not sure what to even tell you. What is that? Well, I'm here to tell you that I believe that brain fog is leaky brain,
Wow.
where the blood-brain barrier is porous, it's not strong because the tight junctions are not strong. And so then the result is that you have a brain fog and you can't focus and get things done.
Wow. That's crazy. I've never heard that before. That's fascinating. Okay, I want to get practical and away from the science for just a second. I've always seen recommendations and kind of gone by the recommendation of fiber intake on a daily basis of like bare minimum 25 grams of fiber. And then I've heard that not you can't really eat too much fiber unless you are coming from a place of like not really eating much. You want to like ramp it up somewhat slowly, maybe on an average of increase your fiber intake by 5 grams daily from week to week. And then the last part that I've heard in terms of this consumption daily recommendation would be like more accurate or more specifically 15 grams per 1,000 calories, at least 15 grams per 1,000 calories. What is your general recommendation for fiber intake for people to really maximize the benefits or maybe start seeing some of the benefits of fiber intake?
Well, there's an entire conversation that we we could spend quite a bit unpacking
Yeah.
this, but let me cut to the cliff notes and let's get practical and tactical. So, number one, the recommended amount is typically based upon your caloric intake, as you mentioned. The number is actually a minimum of 14 grams. So 15 grams would be an appropriate amount, or even more in some cases.
Yeah.
But it's a minimum of 14 grams per 1,000 kilocalories. So if you take the average woman, she's not consuming as much as men because men on average are bigger. And so for women, it averages out to about 25 grams of fiber per day.
Okay.
And for the average man, it averages out to about 38 grams of fiber per day. So now the problem is the average woman in the US right now is 15.
Wow.
So she's only 60% of the way there. The average man in the United States is 18. So he's less than 50% of the way there.
Yeah.
And so we got a pretty good ways to go. Now, the approach, you sort of mentioned that some people would argue that there's no upper limit. I'm, I think, like, I like to think of myself as like probably the world's biggest advocate for fiber, right? I wrote the book
Yeah,
about
yeah,
it,
yeah.
and I actually think that we need to like pause for a moment and get a little more nuanced, because the gut is a muscle. It can be trained, it can be made stronger. And I want your listeners to approach this the same way that you would approach coaching them in the gym, which is that you, number one, have to meet them where they are today.
Yeah.
And you take that spot. So let's imagine the average person is doing like 15. All right. So you take that. And if we were working out, you would increase that ever so slightly. You want to actually like require some effort. So we might go to 18. And when you get to 18, you're going to see how they feel, right? So like if you were in the gym and you were training someone and you push them too hard, you're going to slow it down,
Yeah.
right? So there's no exact standard of like how quickly you escalate a person on their bench press or on their squat or whatever, or their deadlift. You start with what they can handle today, and then you sort of test them to see what they can handle tomorrow. And then you continue to build incrementally from there. And if you give it enough time and they're consistent with their approach, then actually everyone is capable of becoming strong.
Yeah.
And the same is true with the gut. Everyone is capable of having a strong gut, of having a healthy gut, of consuming plant-based food, of being able to consume that food without restriction, and being able to consume it without symptoms. But there's a path to get there. The gut muscle needs to be worked. Fiber is exercise for the gut. We haven't been working our gut. We've been like laying on the couch when it comes to our gut health.
Yeah.
So we have to go slow. So the idea of 5 grams a day, I would actually slow that down quite a bit, to be honest with
Yeah.
you.
I guess the recommendation I heard was like 5 grams on a daily basis, but on increased by 5 from week to week. So like if somebody's currently consuming 25, do 25 the whole week, and then do 30 the whole next week, and then 35 the whole next week. So just to clarify my own saying.